Hi, I'm Warren. Welcome back to this intro to Power Query. Okay, what I'm going to show you now is how to do a summary table. So you might be taking all this data every month now. It's being updated automatically, it's being cleaned, but you might be taking it and saying, well, I now need to know by year and month, what is the total sales by product category, for instance. So instead of going and doing a pivot table on that or grouping the data in Excel, we can automatically do that. So you can click anywhere inside your data here. You can see we have two new options here, table design, where you can go and you can update your banding. You can add a total row if you want. So these are just formatting options. You can also choose different looks for your table if you want. And then you have a query option where we can go and we can edit or refresh or delete, look at the properties, etc. if we want to edit. So that's another way of opening the Power Query editor. So when you have a table in Power Query, you can right click on the table and you can either duplicate the table or you can reference the table. Now duplicate will just make a straightforward copy, and whatever you do to the original table will not affect your copy of the table because it's a direct copy. When you reference it, you are keeping this version, you're making another copy, and whatever happens to the original version will happen to your reference table. So I'm going to reference that. So if we make any logic changes here, it will flow through to our new table. So this table I'm going to call sales summary. And I'm going to go, it's year, month, by prod category. To give it a bit of a better name. And all we want to do here is we want to keep the columns that we're looking at. So we want to keep product category, we want to keep total sales, and we want to keep the year and month because we want a summary of these three. So the inverse of what we did before, we're going to right click and we're going to go remove other columns because it was easier to highlight three than to highlight the difference. And that keeps just these here. So a nice way to be able to summarize tables, you highlight the columns that you want to summarize and you can choose group by. So here we have a group by option, and it's very similar to how a group by clause would work in SQL. We want to group it by product category and by year month. We want the new column to be sum of sales. You could always rename this after you've done it. What do we want it to do? We want it to sum, and we want it to sum the total sales column. And if we click OK, you can see it's very nicely gone and grouped all the product categories together by month and given us our new total here. So you can see that's quite a nice way of being able to group data. You can also do very, very nice things in Power Query, like pivoting and unpivoting columns and rows. That's a more advanced topic that we'll touch on in the future, but you can access that option just by right-clicking and clicking on Unpivot column, unpivot other columns, unpivot only selected columns. So that could be something that you could play around with. But basically, that is exactly like a pivot table in Excel. You're taking a column and you're making it a heading by pivoting or unpivoting, or you're taking headings and making it into rows. So that is something that you can play with. What we did in this example was we individually brought in sales for January and February and then combined them into the combined data, formatted the combined data, and then merged the salesperson onto that data and created a sales table. Now, next month, when March comes through, you don't want to have to go and manually link the March sheet and pull that through and merge it. You want to be able to automatically do that. So in the next video, I'm going to show you an example of how we can pull all the files that are in a folder and format them in one go to make it a bit more streamlined. So we'll touch on that in the next video. Thank you. Just before I go, let's close that. I'll show you the result of that. So you can see our sales summary has been loaded into Excel. So now we have a sales data set, and we have our summary data set, and we have all of our queries here. So when this data refreshes, these will automatically pull through the new details and data. So great. In the next video, I'm going to show you another example of how to do this from a folder. Thank you very much.